Hi, everyone. I'm Lori, and this is Chillin' with Ice, where legends live on. My guest today is an actor, comedian that played alongside Arnold in True Lies and so many other movies. One of my favorites also was 9 Months. There was a fight scene in there that I'm going to talk to him about that was hysterical. There was Animal Factory, Medea's Witness Protection. Oh my God, Jeff, he's had so many. And
way too many.
Way too many. He's been on McHale's Navy. I mean, God, let's not, go back that far. And of course, one of my favorites, Roseanne, and so many more. I met him at the New York Comic-Con.
Sweet.
Yes. And this is Mr. Tom Arnold. Hi, everyone. I'm Lori, and welcome to Chillin' with Ice. This is where legends live on. And my guest today is an actor comedian that has played alongside Arnold in one of my favorite True Lie movies. Other movies as far as 9 Months. Oh my God, Tom, we got to talk about that scene where you actually wrestled with the dinosaur. Fucking funnier than shit. Animal Factory, Medea's Witness Protection. Oh my God, you've done so much. McHale's Navy, one of my favorites as well, Roseanne, and so many more. And actually, I met this man at the New York Comic-Con, and this is Mr. Tom Arnold. Welcome.
Here we are. I'm a big fan of yours too, of your work, of your body of work.
My body.
I'm obsessed with the gladiators, the performers, those kind of performers. To me, stunt performers, and you're one of the best, and you're in excellent shape. A lot of times when people I don't know how old you are, Lori.
I'm gonna tell you how old I am, Tom.
I'm 65 next month. I'm in great shape for 65. You see people.
I'm 60.
Yeah. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Not everybody our age looks amazing. We're special.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
No, I don't have to do this, But I will say my son watched True Lies the night before last, and I saw him watch it. I came in there. He wanted to stay up late, and I said no. And then he saw him watch the True Lies. And I'm like, okay, he knows how to work me. So we sat there, and I was thinking, the terrorist in it, he looks like he's 90 now. But Arnold and Jamie Lee and myself, my son says it's a big difference. But I said, I can't tell the difference between us then and now. And he's like, no, it's a big difference. But it's not, we're trying to hold on to it,
I hear you, man. I remember, hey, when I was at New York Comic-Con and I was setting up my booth, and all of a sudden you come walking down the aisle, and I turned and I looked at my girlfriend. I'm like, holy shit, that's Tom Arnold. So that was so cool meeting you there.
It was very cool meeting you there. You got a lot of positive stuff. I'm curious how you maintained yourself.
Thank you.
As we get up, have any kind of tricks. I was talking to another guy. What's his name? Dynamo?
I love it. Nitro.
Yeah, but he was.
I'm going to call him Dynamo now.
No, but he was very on it. He was giving me some tips as I went by, and this and that, and because you people know your shit.
Yeah.
You know what it takes. And there's a lot of phony baloney stuff out there, but you guys know because you have to know. It's like Arnold. I trained with him one time, and before we started True Lies, Jim Cameron called and said, "Hey, man, you want to have Arnold go to your house and work out with him?" And I was like, "Yeah, I believe I would. It'd be okay if the greatest bodybuilder that ever lived came to my house and worked out with me in my unused home gym." And so I woke up the next day. Someone's at the door at 6 a.m. I answer it. And I'm like, "Oh shit, Arnold! I forgot you were coming." Oh, hey, everybody I've ever met is here, though. Guys, it's fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. Can you believe it? Now, where is my gym? Okay, it's upstairs. Let's go do this thing. And we did it. And that night, Jim Cameron called back and said, "What time do you want Arnold there tomorrow?" And I said, "I don't." And he said, "Why?" Well, number one, now I can say I worked out with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And number two, it's incredibly stressful because he knows so much about the human body, maybe more than anybody ever. And he really tries to help you.
Yeah.
And he has a system where he looks at your body up and down, which I'm not a fan of people looking at my body up and down. Like, I get it. And he has to compliment you on one body part. He's like, "Tom, you have a fantastic left shin." And then then he starts on my trouble spots. I got a lot of goddamn trouble spots, man. So that was it. That was it for working out with him. And I've said this before. It was great fun making that movie. It was 7 months. Got to have fun. Got to ad lib. Working with such great people, and we all stayed friends. And it was a huge hit. And I remember telling somebody, I bet all movies are like that. And it turns out no movies are like that. So
No.
but Arnold and I have stayed bonded. And I think it's because, first of all, our trailers were side by side, right?
Mhm.
And he, the other side of his trailer, he had a semi truck retrofitted into a gym. And so each night of work, I'd come out and he'd be like, "Do you want to work out?" I go, No, I'm going to go over here to Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Like literally, it's a funny thing we did. We walk out, I go this way, he goes that way. And how I knew we became best friends in real life was because the movie went over time and over budget and started to get to Arnold. And one night I'm like, okay, well, enjoy your workout. And he's like, no, give me 2 pints of rum raisin. And from that point on, he stopped working out. He got so depressed, he gained weight, and he was eating ice cream all the time. And see, here's the thing, he could never have pulled me up to his level. But
You can
in fact, I pulled him down to my disgusting level. Now, you ask any man, that's friendship.
That is.
He's all depressed and everything and chubby. We're really friends.
That's awesome. What a great story. I mean, it is. It's funny. I mean, I think if Arnold came over and actually worked out with me, I probably couldn't move for the next probably 2 to 3 weeks because I'd be so damn sore.
Well, it depends on what kind of workout you're doing. But Arnold came to this country in 1968 with nothing, like a pair of shorts, I imagine, and a tank top at like 38 cents. And every dream he's ever had has come true.
Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing.
I mean, I watched this documentary and it was just like insane. Everything that he wanted to do.
Yeah. And I thought documentary series was good because it did the bodybuilding, the sports stuff, and personal stuff, and then the movie stuff. And I thought he was really honest, and I mean, it was he's got a good legacy, man. He's good. He's a good dude.
So now let me transition here because talking about documentaries, I want to know your take on this as well. I actually watched the first episode of your sister's documentary, Queen of Meth, which was just absolutely amazing. And did that documentary turn out the way that you expected it to turn out or thought it would turn out? Or was, because after doing my documentary, we had a 5-part series, and yet I was in 2 days of, I think, 6 to 8 hour interviews. And I was like, holy shit, what's going to land on the floor? What's going to actually make it into the documentary? I mean, what was your take on it? Were you happy with it, how it turned out?
Well, people had approached my sister. It's called the Queen of Meth. My sister was the biggest drug dealer in America. And people were like, were you embarrassed that your sister was a drug dealer? And I'm like, not when I was doing drugs. I wasn't embarrassed. But, her second prison term, her first prison term, I helped her, got her to women's prison camp, really nice in West Virginia, Alderton, the one where Martha Stewart went. I mean, it was beautiful. And it was fun for me to go down and talk to the women because you're never as appreciated as you are when you're in a women's prison. You're like, hey, I like it here. There's a lot of good times. But then she went back to doing it again, dealing drugs. And so that time I said to the judge, you got to put her in place with some kind of chemical dependency component, like a real prison, because otherwise this is going to. And so they did. And she, and she was very, very depressed. You get depressed when you're on another 10-year term. And I said, hey, write a book, sit down there. I'm trying to think of something she could do. Write a book, about your life. Give something to do. Focus on that. So one day I get about 1,000-page book from her, and which I did not immediately read. I'm still a little sore from the whole thing, going back in and and what it did to her kid and everything. So, but eventually I started looking at it, and I've written a book. It can be done. But after she got out, people would contact her to They wanted to film it. They wanted to do a documentary about it. They wanted to do this. And she would run stuff by me, and I'd say, yeah, that's not right. That's not. I don't think that's right for you. I don't think it. And then these guys, the last guys, they reached out to me and said, we're thinking about doing this thing. Here's our credits. They have great credits, and here's how we see this. Because my thing was like, you can't make it all funny, or you can't make it all horrible. There's a middle thing there. And I was worried about my hometown, because Atomo, Iowa, our Lori and I's hometown, man, they take the city of meth. But there's a lot of good things in that town, a lot of good people, and I wanted to show the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided I would do it too. Go in for a couple days and do stuff. I am also aware how they do reality TV, unscripted TV, that they set you up for things.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on one reality show in South Africa. I needed the money very badly. This is over 7 years ago. And it was one of those, I'm a celebrity, whatever, you're competing with those celebrities. And the idea was they at night, you get an airplane and you jump out of the airplane.
What?
The whole darkness, the world's biggest game reserve. And you get to bring nothing, which I brought a lot of Xanax, which
hell yeah.
recent slip on drugs. And so, from the moment we got there, and it was me and the other people were Australian. It only aired in Australia, which is, to me, the thing I like. And like Miss Universe Australia, her bunk was next to mine. We were outdoors. The food, they didn't feed us, and they wanted us arguing, which it turned out to be easy for me. And eating the competition zone, they'd say, who will get on top of the world's biggest what do you call this, waterfall, and bungee jump off there, and there'll be a fish that big, a rubber fish, in the water. You have to bungee straight. When you bungee jump, you don't necessarily keep your eyes on the hole, but you have to bungee jump.
I've never bungee jumped.
pull it out, and then you get dessert.
Oh,
so,
my
of course,
God.
on that, whatever it is, they chained me. One time, who'd be willing to be chained to the bottom of the ocean and then try to figure out how to get yourself out of it?
What the fuck?
I will do that. With how much food? I will do that. But they also, there were.
That's crazy shit. You actually did all that, Tom?
Yeah.
I don't even think I could have done that. There's no way.
I've never been that hungry. And also,
maybe.
I just didn't care. And it got so, and when everybody gets there, they do their biography. Hi, I'm Tom Arnold. I'm from America. I've done these things and that things and whatever. And one of the women who's beloved in Australia, because she got a silver medal in the Olympics, and as she's telling the story, the American cheated. The American used performance-enhancing drugs. She was all natural. Anyway, people love her. When about a week and a half in, maybe a little longer, I was snapping, and everybody turned on me, and I was like, "Fuck you guys!" And boo-hoo you, American kicked your ass, so you're boo-hooing and blaming the drugs. Tough shit. You got you're lucky you got a sober. Anyway, she cried, and then the audience. Then it was the day before you vote, your first person off, and I was praying it was me. I was praying it was me, and the producers came back and they said it's very close, but it's Tom. And then they told me as I'm walking away, we wanted you to fucking stay on the show because people, people just hate you. I don't blame them.
Everybody loves to hate one person. That's just reality shows.
Some of these documentaries, they kind of lead in questions, and I said, the little things I wouldn't do. I used to play in a band. I said, I'm not going to play drums in this for whatever reason. And I came to the interview. There was a set of drums. Hey, there's a set of drums that happen to be set up here. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And I said, I'm not crying. I'm not going to do that. This is because those are just things I wanted to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So it was all good. And then the guy, the director, handed me a transcript of my sister's her her pleading. When you plead for mercy, you talk about your life and how fucked up it was that got you here and very specific stuff. And that one I lost it.
Yeah.
I was to read it through, and I felt I should have seen it coming, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But with my sister, I needed, my sister's like, oh, everything's great. When I sold drugs, nobody died instantly like now with these young people, whatever. And obviously people did die, and obviously had a devastating effect on our town and the towns around it and the lives of so many people. Because when she got arrested, she was the boss. There 45 other people that were under her got arrested. So there are children that we grew up with that are being raised by their grandparents. That happens in America all the time, too much.
Mm-hmm.
So then at the end, I was done, and Sasha was with me. And Sasha, I took her around my town. It is disgusting, I'm going to say. Like, cousins are bragging about being married to cousins. It's a lot going on. But it's where I grew up, And the guy, I get a text, hey, come and say goodbye to your sister. They give me the address. So I get the car. And as we're getting closer, I go, oh, that's the cemetery. That's Shaw Cemetery. I wonder what this is about. And then I thought, is this a setup to do something with me? So I said, I'll walk by our mothers, because our mother was such a big part of it. It's so bad.
Yeah.
She ruined my sister's life, she did it. And I'll walk by her, and so we'll say something. And anyway, and the producer told my sister to say, don't you think it's time you stop blaming your mother for whatever, forgive your mother? And I lost it.
Yeah, I saw that.
It yelled, and I could see Sasha in the truck behind, just tears. And it was a thing. That reminded me a lot of growing up too. And then I got in the car, and Sasha was weeping. She couldn't even drive. I had to drive. She was I'm just afraid that's going to make you look so bad. You're so mean. And no, but that was pretty good. I think
honestly, Tom, that scene right there, that was an intense scene, but it was a great scene. And you could see your passion and how passionate you were about it.
And I think you do a documentary, you got to have historical facts. But I think the best ones you have, you give up control. That's it.
Yeah.
And nobody, they made 2 movies about Roseanne and I's marriage that were just awful. And but I remember when I was doing 9 Months, Hugh Grant says, hey, one of the movies was airing while we were filming up in Napa. And he's like, those fuckers. And it was on Fox. And 9 Months was a Fox movie. True Lies was a Fox movie. And I was so pissed at them for doing this in the middle of filming another successful movie for them. How dare they? And Hugh Grant's like hey, man, just come over. It'll be the boys. We'll forget about it, right? When it's supposed to air. And I walk into his house, and everybody is there, and they're all watching.
Oh, shit.
Which is funny. The people have complaints the way they come off. As a comedian, I know people in my family, it's best just to do what you do, and not try to please everybody. But so your experience, what do you give your experience to it?
It was interesting because obviously the first documentary was ESPN that came out. And
that's what I watched first.
Okay, so that one was interesting because of the fact the creator contacted all of us and said, hey, they're going to do a documentary about me. We'd like for you to be on it. And we all kind of got together and went, bullshit. This is not about you. Nobody fucking knows who you are. We know this is going to be about the Gladiators. So we all opted, a lot of us, I'd say 3/4 of the team opted out not to do the ESPN documentary. So therefore, that's why the creator on that ESPN documentary got to talk shit about me, said that I was a fucking crybaby, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what? Fucking whatever.
And I'll tell you, they showed, I believe, the one fella, and man, to see his picture when he was performing with you guys, and he was so fucked up physically. I mean, he could.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're watching that. I mean, I think that's important to show too. That these sports and even if you're careful about the sports, you could get, or hurt badly. The thing I got out too was like you guys were like animals to them.
Oh
Okay,
God, yeah, yeah,
yeah, and you know it. Obviously, you loved it too. There was which is important. Like, okay, I get what they think of us as, but I'm digging it. This is what I'm gonna. So that's why I was excited to see the second one.
yeah.
And, because you know you do miss when it's not all four Beatles. You're like, there's something missing. If it's a documentary about the Beatles and only one of them's there,
Yeah.
well, you feel badly, and so I was grateful that you guys did yours too.
Yeah, that one I was excited about. And that was the one we weren't quite sure how they were going to portray us, when I did all those interviews.
It was so different too than the other one. The other one was a sort of a cinema verite kind of thing. They're setting up different things and have since they didn't have you guys, they had to rely on that fella in the background.
Oh God, I know.
So you can have two documentaries, covering the same subject, and have it be completely different.
What was so fucking cool about that one, that the doc you did with your sister, was all that old footage. I mean, I was watching this and me and my girlfriend were like, holy shit. I mean, you guys were able, I don't even remember taking old footage when I was a kid. Our parents did not. And so it was so fucking cool to see that you had all that old footage.
Yeah, my dad did that.
That was insane.
And I think because we were kids, people sort of just started having those new cameras.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for it now just in my life because, you watch that and you go, okay, that happened.
Yeah, exactly. That really did happen. Holy shit.
I have to watch it again.
Now, another one, it's funny because Jeff, he goes, dude, you got to talk to him about this. He sent me a clip this morning about the 9 Months movie when you actually had a fight with the dinosaur. And I was laughing my ass off this morning. Was that a lot of fun to film that?
Yeah, it was. And it was funny because the stunt guy, what's his name? I should have his name. Anyway, he's in the RD costume. And then I go with the safety guy, and he's like, okay, here's the deal. You can hit him anywhere you want, except this eye cover is metal. That's the only place you can't hit him is in the eye. I go, I got it. Easy, bam. And then we start going. I attack the RD. He's insulted us, and one of the first things I did was hit him in the eye. And you don't see it done the movie, but I knocked him out. He was knocked out, and we got his head off, and he had a cut like a D.
Oh shit!
They're like, you got to go to give him smelling salts. You're going to the hospital. We'll get somebody else here. He's like, no, I want to finish it. He had his buddy, the other second, taped this shit up, and then we did it again, which I have a lot of respect for. But later in the movie, it was great fun scene and people like that. But later in the movie, we're in the delivery room with Robin and Julianne Moore and Jodie Cusack and Hugh Grant, and it's very chaotic. And I think that because Rob Williams was our doctor, there's so much stuff they shot that the movie would have been 5 hours long. He's so funny, but there's a point where I was supposed to punch Hugh Grant during this chaos scene, and we get to the point, and then here it comes, and he's like, no, and he calls the director, Christopher Columbus. Chris Columbus is the director. I don't trust him. No, I don't. He's going to hit me in the face. I go, I've done a lot of stunts in my own sense of movie. I see this line on the floor. I'm not going to cross the line. I'm going to go right up to it, and then I can't. And we did it very slow. It showed how it looked like he was going to hit it in the face, but he wasn't. He wasn't even going to be that close.
Right.
And he's like, okay, I trust you. And then we get going, and the scene gets going, and then he comes time, and I step way over the line, smash his nose.
Oh shit!
And everybody was silent. He's like, bloody hell! And Julianne Moore, who was not a Hugh Grant fan, who was in the bed, give birth to the baby, goes, bloody hell! And then from that moment, everybody called it bloody hell. His reaction was worse than me punching him in the face. So yeah, but you got to be a little careful. You don't want to it, you know.
Yeah, I know. I've been in some of those fight scenes before, and it's like you either have to go to the side, you got to just like do another inch. They have to react, but you're gonna hit. You're gonna make contact at one point in time. It seems like. So let me ask you this: did you always want to become a comedian growing up?
But when my son and I were watching True Lies, and my daughter came in, Billy Lucas, this great stunt guy, and because Arnold will be on the horse, and then this happens. Who is that on the horse? And there's some incredible stunts of Billy Lucas. They made him up to be Arnold, but I forgot how many great, crazy stunts he did. And now, once you know a person, you kind of see in their eyes. They can fake a lot of things, and people, the ordinary fan doesn't go frame to frame. But they had great stuntmen on there. Now, okay, what's your question, dear?
I said, did you always want to be a comedian growing up, or is it more of being an actor?
Well, I grew up, I had a single dad. I'm a single dad.
Mm-hmm.
And the only time we heard our dad laugh, he worked in a factory, and he did his best, man. He was 18 when I was born. My mom was 16, she was gone. But the only time we heard him really laugh, there'd be a Bob Hope special on. Bob Hope was this comedian, and he would go around to Vietnam or Korea, visit the troops all over the world, and put on these big shows, big TV specials, and you have beautiful women with big, not filthy, but the kind of stuff that old man would go, I like that.
Yeah.
Have we ever heard Dad laugh? And I remember being upstairs with my brothers. I'm like, whatever it is that Bob Hope does, I'm going to do that. And so one of the first jobs I got when I moved to Hollywood in '88, maybe in '89, I did a Bob Hope special, and but I think Bob Hope was I don't know. We're dressed in tights, Robin Hood and Barry. I don't know what it was, but Bob Hope called my dad, and he signed a whole bunch of shit to my dad. Very, very cool. And the real magic was then my dad in the same living room where when I was a kid he would watch Bob Hope. Got to watch Bob Hope with his son standing next to him. So that's a pretty magical thing.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But I wanted to be a comedian. I wanted to get out of my hometown in Tumble, Iowa. I wanted to not work at the meatpacking plant anymore. And I thought that if I could be on TV once as a comedian, that everyone in my hometown would love me, which turns out not to be. Always keep me going forward. I go at my third year on the kill floor of the meatpack plant. I got to get the University of Iowa. I got to get. They have a stage up there. Well, the open mic night. That's where I got to. And I'll tell you, nobody from my town did things like this. Nobody went, I could be an actor. I'm going to go. But people would lock you up if you start talking about that because it's so crazy. And even at my third year at the meatpack plant, this meatpack plant was the best job in town. There was benefits, and we had a great union at the time. And my third year, I was trying to save the money for college, and I went, wait a minute, maybe I should just stay here. How do people stay here? They get married, they have kids. I see them, and they're like happy to be here. And besides, my dream is impossible. It's just how would a person from Tumble, Iowa get to Hollywood? It doesn't even make sense. I don't know how to do it. And then that night I went out. We had a disco called the Jailhouse, and get very drunk. And we came out of there, and on the street, I looked on the street was Andy Kaufman standing there, bunch of women around him. Andy Kaufman from the movie or from the Taxi TV show.
Yeah,
and it was a time when he was wrestling women. And women's wrestling is very big where I'm from. Very big. Just big. University of Iowa men's wrestling and University of Iowa women's wrestling. And so I went up to him like, I'm thinking, how did he get here? And he came to, there's a wrestling event at the our Coliseum. He went there. He paid the women to stay later to wrestle with him. He was preparing for something. And then he took the whole crowd in school buses to Happy Joe's Pizza, which is the best pizza, And I thought that I want to be that successful where I could take everybody to Happy Joe's Pizza. But I did realize if he could get here in some tube or whatever from Hollywood, that there's technically a way I could get there. And from that point on, I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure this out. However you got to be crazy and you got to be stupid.
Got to be creative.
You got to work for nothing, but
you got to love that life too, because
I love the life. It was great. I was by far my craziest, but I was with other crazy people. And when I met Roseanne, my first ex-wife, I just moved to Minneapolis because I went from Iowa to Minneapolis because they had comedy clubs up there.
Mm-hmm.
And the club owner said, I met a woman in Denver. She's very funny. I want you guys to work together this weekend. I think you're going to hit it off. And so it was Roseanne before she was famous, but she was great, great. And we hit it off. And the woman that emceed the show, who's now a very successful producer, reminds me that Roseanne and I asked if we could borrow her car for a little bit, and we never brought it back.
Oh, shit.
Hard, but that was enjoyable, and you don't get paid much for comedy then. You don't get, you still have to have a day job.
Yeah.
I was working at First Avenue, which is a club. I was working there from 83 to 88 while Prince was making Purple Rain, literally filming it in there. So right place at the right time. I would not want my kids to live the life I lived back then. I could not do it. We sleep on people's couches to do, but it was sure fun.
But you got to do what you got to do if you want to do that type of lifestyle. Now, are the comedians nowadays doing basically the same thing? I mean, living on people's couches, paying their dues. I mean, is it as tough today as it was back then?
I think the big comedians are getting incredibly wealthy. It's the middle area that's tough. Sasha, when I met her, when she started working for us 4+ years ago, she was a comedian. She applied for jobs, said she was a comedian, and but the reason I hired her is because she goes, I had another person that I do too. I'll do all the shit work. You want somebody to go to Target, get something for you and the kids? I'll do that. All of this. I thought, well, that's a good thing here. And then I started talking to her. I go, what do you mean you're a comedian? She just got back from a cross-country thing with some guys sleeping on strangers' couches and shit. And it I was like, that sounds awful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does your dad think about it? And but she loves it, and she still does it. She goes around and films little movies. When she asked one night if she could sleep on the couch, she was working late. She lived in Koreatown,
mm-hmm.
and she said her roommate, this guy, they had one parking spot, and he used it even at night. So she had to get there and find a place to park on the street. That's not ideal for a young woman to have to do this. So I tipped the kids. I go, let's get in the car. We're going to go see what this deal is. So we get in the car, we put our wagons, and it was an apartment that she shared with this dude. It was smaller than this office, and there's a shower curtain to separate.
Oh, shit.
It was rough. So then we're packing this thing up. So we packed her up because I just was thinking, like, as a dad, this would be just unacceptable.
Yeah.
Place but you have to be like that. You have to be sort of a vagabond.
Okay, and even that, I mean, today I would imagine that it'd be so much more competitive because you have all the social media, you have all these platforms that you have to be on. You have to do this, you have to do that in order to hit the next levels. To where it's like when you started out as a comedian, you just hit the circuit. I mean, as much as you possibly could do, but back then and now it's like not only do you have to do the shows, but now you have to do all this social media bullshit, to kind of keep relevant. Am I right?
I don't get, I like to post stuff about me and my kids, real things. I have been in enough stuff.
Yeah.
I've been in 150 movies. I've had a sports show. I've done all this different stuff.
Yeah.
I think that young people are very attuned to social media and how to appropriately do that and to make their audiences. What happened during COVID was all the clubs shut down, and it forced and they're almost all comedians that became like producers. They produced one night or one section of one night at the Comedy Store or the Laugh Factory, Improv, Ice House, and those shows I love doing because there'll be 6 comics, and first of all they pay you a lot more than it's not huge money, but instead of getting $15 at the improv, you get at least $250. It's real short sets. And so it's good. And then what I like about it is I forget how great it is to go watch stand-up comedy, because the energy of the different acts, like they're all people you know about, and there'll be a woman, and there'll be a Asian guy, there'll be whatever people. My energy is different. There'll be somebody that's very deadpan. There'll be, and so you get to see this variety of comics, and it's pretty cool. It does remind me of the '80s at the Comedy Store, where you did see a variety of comics.
Oh, I love watching stand-up.
And so there's that, and but these guys, there's a group of guys. There might be 8 of them, 6 of them that book a lot of rooms, and you could keep your week full.
Oh, I bet. So you also have a podcast. What's Divorce Party? Is it still going on? You still doing that podcast? I know it's on your social media.
I am. That's how big it is. You have to ask him a story.
No. I watched a few of them and they were funny. And it's like my first thought went like this, Tom. I went, have they had any lesbian divorced people on yet?
Coming on. I didn't know you'd been divorced. So, you're on. Yeah, we've had, by the way, but the best couples we've ever been the guys that stuck together, the guys that support each other, the guys that got on the other side of this. And they all, the 2 couples, they all started out married to women. and they just went, and then they teamed up and they've got beautiful children. I mean, it's very inspiring to me. Yeah, we've had quite a variety, but we'd love to have you. It's like a therapy thing for me. I met Monica Casey, my co-host, at I'm in the school parking lot picking up the kids, and you're looking around like, because I haven't had a date in 7 years. So you're in the school parking lot, and you're looking around like it would have to be somebody I'd have a date with that has similar age kids, so they'd have a play date. Like,
come on, wait a minute, hold that thought. You're going to tell me that Mr. Tom Arnold has not had a date in 7 years? How is that even remotely possible?
Well, it's very possible.
Tell me why. Come on.
Because to be really honest, I did have a hookup in Buffalo at the end of I was before you see that, and somebody in Tampa who came to a show there, and I started talking to her, and she's got 2 young kids, her own business, she's sober. Nothing happened there, but she on her own flew up there, sat in the front row with her friend, and which I bought her own ticket, and anyway, so that was satisfying, But it's easy. I think you go through, if you get divorced 3 times, you can still kind of go, oh, those crazy bitches, Yep. But if you get divorced 4 times, you go, oh shit, it's me. So
yeah.
of all I've been in court for 7 years about kids and all this stuff, and it's people used to call that a high conflict divorce, but it's not. It's legal abuse. I've never filed anything. I've never called the police on her. I've never been taken out of the house by the police. I've never done it stuff in front of the kids. So, that's just been a part of, you've got to get your shit together and go, I've got to feel better about this stuff. And also, people would say, you should date someone your own age. And I'm like, have you seen people my age? We're fucking disgusting. I said, plus no 64-year-old woman is going, you know what I need? I need a guy with 2 very young kids and not much money. There's no, but I think that slowly but surely, and some of these cons, I met people. I was going to go out with a woman, from the Runaways, because I started talking to her, started talking to her sisters. I got to have her name before I get off of this, but and she's great, and she's a wood carver in real life, and I thought, well, she also had been 7 years, so there's low expectations, I hope. But I think things, things can happen, and again, I've done so many things, I guess, cool things in my life that there's no, my kids are not. My daughter would be cool with it. My son, I can just tell.
He's like, no way, Dad. No.
Like, no. But the podcast we have lawyers. It's called Divorce Party, because the idea is you get divorced, you go through your shit, and then you have a party, and then you move on, like a bar mitzvah. It should be, everybody should do it. Monica, who is married to a guy from CSI, we did get together for lunch and talk about our shitty divorces. she's gone on now that they're co-parenting. This is years ago, but she was the first person in her group to get a divorce. And if you're the first person in the group, the other people in the group were like, "Okay, we love you, but there's a stink of divorce. We don't want that over here. So hey, do your thing." But then she had a divorce party for herself. But she has a lot of gay friends too. It's helpful. And they went to a karaoke place and got drunk, and she vomited. And and after that, she made out with a dude, a stranger,
Oh shit.
covered the bases. And then she felt like, okay, I put this thing behind me, onward and upward.
Holy shit.
But it's been very helpful to me understanding, as I continue. I go back to court in March. I got served Monday here. And the first time I wasn't served in front of the kids. But she did call, and I could hear her talk to my son, and I'm getting everybody ready for school. Basically, she asked, what time do you think Dad be home from school drama? I got something for him. And so, but that is progress. But, this has been helpful to me. I think that when you've been in a very abusive relationship, you can't figure it out, first of all.
Right.
Emotionally abusive, whatever, legally abusive. You're like, this can't be happening. I just got to be, you're also juggling because you have these little kids and someone is trying to do something to you, which would take these kids away.
Yeah.
But also, so each time you go into court and win, you're like, okay, that's worth it. It's worth the money. It's worth the whatever, the anxiety. And then it keeps happening and happening and happening. So I think that this next time, because I've never gone on the offense. I filed for divorce. That's a bunch of that. But this next time, we're preparing. Sasha has it's like a war room. You know what a war room? She has this stuff. This is a board that she's working on of all the we go over all the old stuff, and then it's not a lot of work to be done. But we read all the old documents. We go all, and then we're going to literally make a line of when this started 7 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Hey, at least you're not jaded. I mean, it sounds like you're going to, if it happens again, it happens again. Most people at this point in time, they're just like, screw it. I'm not getting married again. Fuck this. I don't even want to in a relationship. I'm good with myself. I've got my kids. I've got my house. So many people I've met like that.
Tell you, you got to, before you marry someone, divorce them, because you really don't know who you're marrying unless you get divorced. Then all of a sudden you're divorced someone and you're like, oh shit, they want to kill me.
Oh hell yeah.
You go, let's get remarried. And but your life. I really enjoy the minutia of being a dad. I like the kids and I are together a lot, and I mean a lot. Like I have two side by side Craftmatic beds. The idea was when they were younger, okay, they could come in here and sleep on their bed, and there was so much conflict in their life, and now it's, I don't have my own bed, I squeeze in there, and whatever. That's not something I ever thought as a parent. I thought as a parent, I'm going to be like, no kids in here, no this, that, but you just kind of bob and weave, and but we have 21 cameras inside, outside the house. They're rolling all the time because we have to. If she does something or she says or accuses me of something, Sasha gets up and says to the judge, and it's been very, and the police come and I say, what did she say happened? Well, let's come on in and watch the tape. And then they haul her out of there.
Holy shit.
But it's also scary because she swatted us a bunch of times, me and the kids, and we were home. And she'd say, he's violent, he has a lot of guns, and cops will come in hot. They got to.
Oh yeah, they do.
It can go wrong, man.
Oh, they do.
First time she did that, and first of all, that was a lie, but I have a lot of guns. But I did have a hunting rifle, in the garage after the cops left, and I pulled it out and I got a blowtorch and cut it up in little pieces so that, okay, just in case someone could get in there and dig through that, get in that crate. But, yeah, you do, but I wouldn't trade it. It's been going on a long time.
So let me ask you this. Being a single dad, you say your dad was awesome growing up. And usually kids, it's kind of like you either go the complete opposite than your parents or you wind up kind of as fucked up as they are. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I wanted to be like my dad. I was like, I'm going to be like him. He's a solid citizen. Uh, you know, and my mom was married 7 times in our small town and fucking drugs and alcohol, crazy. She made my sister marry a 22-year-old pedophile when she was 14. I mean, she's crazy. But when you're 14 in Iowa, you can decide which parent to live with. And I knew if I moved in with my mom, I could drink, I could do drugs, I'd fucking grow my hair. So I'm at that age, I'm going to do it. And the moment I get in over there, she says, "Hey, listen, yeah, you can bring your girlfriend." I didn't have a girlfriend. You can bring her over here and you can fuck her if you want. I mean, that's how she talks. I never heard anybody talk like that. There's booze in the fridge, got some diet pills over here. I'm going to leave for 2 weeks.
Jesus.
So in that moment, I had the lump in my throat because I realized I made a terrible mistake. My dad did have rules. He did have rules.
At least.
But I made a terrible mistake. Now, as I got to know my mom, like, I'm not going to be like that. But it turns out I was half like her and half like my dad. I did get addicted to drugs. I did. I have been married 4 times, not 7, but 4. And so, when I work on myself, I'm more like my dad, who's an incredibly honest guy, a little boring, but very thoughtful. And but man, you can go both ways if you aren't right. You could get, and I think my sister went hard.
Yeah, I saw that. That was insane. That was intense.
You have to make those things, and and I'm a work in progress every day. I take things one day at a time, as we're told to do.
Yep.
I also take being a father one day at a time. I assume, I've had some health shit too. Where I've had massive organ failure, life support for 11 days, and a little stroke after that, and then like the fucking horrible cancer surgeries, which are a pain in the ass this year. But and my kids are cognizant of that. Like they, especially my daughter, will not leave my side. She wouldn't let me go to the potty with her for a long time, and when she goes to the potty thing, and I did post a picture of us sitting in there in the potty, and so being close like that is a good thing. But I think that it's important. Each day I say, what if this were the last day with these guys? That's why I say I can't let the day end in a bad way. Nobody's going to bed angry. You can say what you want. It's not like, oh yeah, we'll fix all that tomorrow. We won't fix it, but I just think that and you give a little more effort when you're like, well, this could be the last day. You're a little more patient. You got a little more energy. You try different things that are, don't seem like they would be interesting, but the kids want to do it, so you make them interesting. So,
dude, you sound like a good dad. You sound like an awesome dad.
I also used to have to consider what their mother had to say.
Yeah.
Doing the best I can and thinking, any good idea she has, I'll use, and then and she'll use mine. Well, she's never said no to anything, or yes to anything. In fact, why she's taking me to court is in September, the kids and I went to my stepmother's funeral in Iowa. We flew there, missed a couple of days of school. My stepmother was, my mother never raised us. She was as close to a mother as I had.
Mm-hmm.
She was great with my kids as a grandmother. All my brothers and sisters were there. I felt it was important we go. Now, I was aware that my ex, we still had something there about mutual consent to travel out of state with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I had never said no to her.
Right.
I had never said, if it's about seeing her family, yeah. Her dad died. She went to Arizona for 2 weeks with the kids, took them out of school. Why would I say no to that?
Right.
But she consistently said no, and in a way to alienate my kids, not only from me, but from my family. But I thought, fuck it, we're doing it. So,
yeah.
And she wrote a thing. She goes, I heard, not from you, that you're going to Iowa with the kids for a funeral. I do not approve that. When she puts it right, there's this app that we communicate with. Like, I would never put that in writing, a lot of stuff.
What the fuck? That's just selfish. That's sad.
It's very selfish. And when I get in front of the judge there, I'm going to say, listen, did I violate this thing? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it sucks.
I said I tried to set a precedent that I let her do everything, but this is the situation. I'm 65. These kids are 10 and 8. The last person in my family died. everybody was there. I thought it was important to go.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask that all that kind of shit get removed from our stipulation.
Shit.
Because the less conflict, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't have to talk. We don't have to see each other.
Yeah.
We don't have to, but the less of that, and I think ultimately I need to also be in charge of their medical decisions or whatever.
Yep.
And I would listen to her, but she makes such bad decisions that, but we'll see what happens,
Right,
we'll
exactly. Kind of sucks. Tom, thank you so much for taking the time out today. Seriously, I mean, I have watched you my entire life. I think you're funny as shit. I love you. I love your movies. I mean, having you on my podcast is truly, like, seriously an honor. When I met you at Comic-Con, I was just like, oh my God, he's as cool as I thought he would be, So thank you for that.
I think that of yours. And I was like, look how fucking good she looks. It's, I did a sports show. I know there's guys I idolized, and then you see them, and, you see a lot of them can't even walk. They're so hurt. They're doing something.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, she's killing it. Hey, listen, next time let's wrestle.
Hey, dude, I mean, you're doing that. I'll wrestle you all day long. When are you doing? Because I know that I'm finally, obviously, after the documentary aired, we got back out there, and now we're starting to do some autograph signings and Comic-Cons and shit. So trust me, I know this is not the last time I'm going to see you. I'm sure I'm going to see you at a bunch more because you're signing now, aren't you? I mean, this is a privilege and so cool for people to actually come out and meet you in person. I noticed you had your kids there. It was awesome.
But don't you love it? I mean, there are people that hate doing it. They shouldn't do it. You got to love people. You got to be patient. It's like being a parent. You got to like it. Say, yeah, I dig this thing. This is another form of what I've done for a living. This pays the legal bills. It pays whatever. And you got to enjoy it. And there's a lot of people watching. I got to connect with you guys. And I'll tell you last story. On the way back from that Comic-Con, my son, who's 10, we're sitting on the plane.
By the way, I was right in front of you on that plane.
Were you right in front?
I was 3 seats in front of you, and I heard a little bit of chatter behind me, but I didn't want to, it's just like, I'm not going to interject. I'm just going to let them have their conversation.
You know what? My son said, that's ice. I go, did you have a hat on or something?
I'm sure I did.
I was like, are you sure? Once somebody puts a hat on, my son knew it was you. I go, I got to remember to say bye to her on the way out. So we did say hi, and I was like, I think that's her, but there's a hat. Like, you weren't exactly saying I don't. But I always thought my son was always like, Dad, you're old. And I heard Paul Williams, the singer, songwriter, actor, little guy, sober guy, a long time. He's sitting here talking to Jason Patrick, who's a very nice guy too. Talking, I said, hey, see that guy right there? He's 20 years older than me, son. And he is still good. And then Edward James Olmos behind me said, I'm 93. I go, you got to be shitting. Look at this guy, man. He's carrying his own bag. He's traveling by himself. And then it was time to stand up on the plane, and I heard somebody laughing, and Dee Wallace, who's great, behind me, the mom from E.T., and said something, and I said, what'd she say? She said, you have toilet paper coming out of your pants.
Shit.
Okay. I kind of, I had toilet paper on my shoe, which is fucking embarrassing.
Right.
The waistband of my pants. So I tried to pull up, and then Edward and everybody was laughing. And so I'm like, God damn it, son, you got to watch it. You're my eyes and ears and shit like this.
Right.
My son kept saying, embarrassing, as there's something that Drake said.
Oh, my God.
Then we got to luggage. I was looking for the actors who had just witnessed that fucking.
Yeah.
So we go, hey, everything's cool. Just want you to know. and Dee Wallace is the only one there. She's like, Tom, been there, she said, which made me feel kind of good. But, you're feeling at the top of the world. You got all these people around you. You're like this. And then, like,
you have toilet paper hanging out of your ass.
People in the bathroom of double cleaning up and double, I don't know. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you again.
Hey, if we can't laugh at ourselves, shit, we're fucked.
Absolutely right.
I will see you again. I know I'll see you again at these Comic Cons. And do me a favor. Tell my listeners where they can find you and what your next Comic Con is. By the way, where you're signing. Do you know?
That's a good question. I don't know what it is. I think it's in a couple of months. I do them every couple of months. I'm trying to think where I am.
I'm actually going to be in Kentucky. I'm going to do Lexington, Kentucky in March.
Right. Or yeah, that's good. I'll do whatever I can do. I do, because of the strike, I had to book a lot of stand up.
Yeah.
And any Comic Con, that's really paid my legal bills these last few years. It's been very grateful for that. I'll be somewhere. I'll be in this area doing stand up, always, and then I'll go to, somewhere to a casino somewhere or something.
Right.
I still write stuff, and
you're still acting and doing movies and.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I do 3 or 4 movies a year. And,
if they ever say, "Hey, we need a really buff looking hot chick, kind of like Gladiator," go, "I know the girl."
Yeah, you can do it. But I want you to come on the Divorce Party podcast.
I would love to. It'd be fun.
Good. You're very honest about shit. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you too. Mr. Tom Arnold, everyone. Thank you. And this is Chillin' with Ice, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to Chillin' with Ice. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share wherever you listen to your podcast. Remember to follow us on Patreon and YouTube at Chillin' with Ice. And on Instagram and TikTok, you can follow me at lori.ice.fetrick. I look forward to chilling with you next time here on Chillin' with Ice.